Hello, and welcome to MoviePod, a Reclaimed Cinema podcast. I'm your host, Brian Wishart. Time for the new Super Mario Galaxy movie. We're going back in time to 1993 to talk about the first feature-length live-action video game adaptation movie ever made. It has scant to do with the game itself, because the bickering married couple directing it were given an impossible amount of creative freedom to adapt the iconic video game series into whatever they want it to be. It was considered by many to be one of the worst movies ever made, but it's developed a cult following over time, thanks to the production design and the creative freedom and weirdness that entailed. So we're talking about Rocky Morton and Annabelle Jenkel's Super Mario Bros. Movie. Brought back a friend to the show, on the podcast, who I've played a lot of Mario games with. He was on the Alien 3 episode, and this movie also has a third act Lance Henriksen reveal, so I'd like to introduce Ben back to the show.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Glad to have you on. So, I remember playing the original Mario Bros. Game at your house as a little kid.
Yeah, so it was the console itself predated us a little bit. My parents had a NES that I remember playing, like the original 3 Mario games that were on that platform with. And then, so funnily enough, the development for this movie I read ties mostly into Super Mario World, which I never had a Super Nintendo ever. So it became this. The console remains this kind of like forbidden lore for me. That every now and again I'll play a game that was ported from it.
Yeah,
I have played Super Mario World, but
it's fine because I know I played the original Mario and Mario 3 a lot at your place.
Yeah,
but I remember as a kid, like a family friend, they had a Nintendo and a Super Nintendo, and I think at one point they lent us the Super Nintendo, so I played a lot of Super Mario World. Honestly, Super Mario World is probably the first console game I remember playing.
Oh, really?
That one came in like 1991, I think, in North America.
Yeah,
I believe.
We were born in 91, yeah, so that makes sense.
But
my lack of experience with it is just my own parents' purchasing decisions, I guess.
But I did. I remember, for us, growing up playing video games, we're both born in 1991, so Mario 64 for the Nintendo 64, that was a monumental thing. I remember all the excitement around that game being like Mario in 3D, the way 3D games weren't really a big thing at that point in time, and the fact that they were able to make that game, I remember as a little kid being blown away by this thing's existence.
I mean, the fact that there's certain moments in that game, if you've ever played it, and Eel might ring a bell.
Yeah.
That might be burned into your mind.
Or throwing the penguin off a cliff.
Ah, yes, that. Except I didn't do that because I'm not a monster.
Oh, I threw the penguin off a cliff a lot.
My brother did that a lot. Sorry, Jake.
So, the first appearance of Super Mario as a character was in the game Donkey Kong, the arcade game in 1981. And then got its own spin-off game, Mario Bros. In 1983, which, that's a weird one because it was basically knocking turtles over and then shooting the shells at other turtles and crabs.
Yeah, I mean, why not? A little casual animal cruelty.
But 1985 was when Super Mario Bros. Came up for the original Nintendo, and that game was it's considered one of the best games of all time for a good reason. It's an incredible game, hugely popular, sold systems, and of course, people are going to make it's weird because I find video game adaptations to be fascinating. The very first episode I did for this podcast and the new format was on Resident Evil. I find Resident Evil, that movie is 2002, and this Mario Bros. Movie is 1983. And it took them 8 years to get this Mario Bros. Movie actually into theaters. Mario had some enduring popularity, so I think by the time, so Super Mario World was the one that came up, the most recent game, I think. Unless we're talking about maybe Mario Land 2 for the Game Boy. Is this this point in time?
Maybe. I just remember reading, when I was doing a little bit of pre-reading for this, a specific bit of trivia that the reason there's so much dinosaur stuff in this movie was because the first area of Super Mario World is Dinosaur Land. Mm-hmm. So I know it was at least after Super Mario World that they were doing a lot of the drafting. Yeah, that was how they excused that.
Yeah, and this movie, you have to excuse a lot for what the hell is going on because this is a baffling film.
So I just wanted to drop for a moment, when you're adapting something from one media to another, video games are sort of an interactive media, so there's something going to be lost in translation to film, which is not an interactive media. But generally speaking, you can do a sort of a faithful adaptation in terms of the actual content of whatever you're trying to do. You can do a faithful adaptation, sort of like the Guillermo del Toro Frankenstein movie, where it doesn't really follow the plot super closely, but carries on with the themes very well. And then you can do what this movie did, which is
incredibly loose.
they name drop a lot of stuff. Like, some kind of funny, because a couple of years before, like, I don't know exactly what year it started filming, but I remember watching reruns of it on TV when I was a kid. The Super Mario Bros. Super Show was on TV, which was a much more straight adaptation that had some, like, basically live-action sketch comedy in between cartoon segments. And, yeah, sorry.
I never actually watched that as a kid, but I remember being in high school and all the memes about that. Next swing, go from side to side, the Mario song.
Yeah.
I remember, like, that kind of game, like, early YouTube. This one came, like, 86, 87, like, just after the game came out, and, you know, it's kind of the basic Mario plot, but, like, they don't really know how to use all the sound effects, probably, because every sound effect in Mario and every character in Mario is iconic.
It's very deliberate when they use it, and, yeah, it's very well done.
And, like, this one, like, you know, it'd be things where, like, they kind of fuck it up. They would have, like, you know, when Mario jumps around, they would use, like, the coin sound effect instead because they weren't really sure what, like, you know, what was the big thing.
Because this is a audio only medium, you can't see the horrible facial expression I just made when Brian said that.
Yeah. I may not be the exact that, but either way, like, they were not getting the sound effects right towards what it was. No. And it's kind of funny because, like, Mario is one of those things, like, it's like Star Wars, and the fact that every single sound effect in Star Wars, the original movie, and, like, thing is iconic. There's something like Mario games to this day, like, they will use the same sound effects, same ideas from the first game from 1985, like,
right.
And it's funny the more distance we get away from this movie, and we see that, like, this movie wasn't all about that. And of course, there's the more accurate Mario adaptations happening, the TV show we talked about, but also, like, you know, they're trying to get movie rights going with this because, like, of course, like, it's a hot new medium, right? People are actually buying Nintendos and buying the households. Like, this is after the video game crash, so, like, people are actually like, this can make money. And one of the earliest things I read about for trying to get the rights from Mario Bros. Movie was from Dustin Hoffman in 1990. He wanted to play Mario in the movie, and he wanted Danny DeVito to play Luigi.
So that would have been great.
Exactly, it ruled.
Why were we denied this?
Yeah, and, like, Barry Levinson was going to be directed, and he just won the Oscar for directing Rain Man, and Dustin Hoffman just won an Oscar for Rain Man as well. And that would have been an incredibly bizarre follow-up to winning an Oscar. Rain Man, of course, like, has its issues too, but, like, it would have been a fascinating follow-up to a movie like that.
Look, there's some pretty weird trajectories out there with Hollywood careers. Did Jim Carrey come back to, like, acting because of the Sonic the Hedgehog movies?
Yeah, it's so funny where Jim Carrey was like, you know, I'm against violence in movies. I don't want to really act in movies anymore. And I only want to come back to movies for a part that really speaks to me. And he just comes back as, like, Dr. Man Robotnik every couple years for Mario.
Yeah, so, I mean, there's precedent for... I guess it happened much later than this movie happened, but there's precedent for people having weird career pivots into video game movies.
And he's the best part of those movies by far.
I have not seen them.
I don't like those movies. I think they get better as they go along. I think the first one's a bad movie. The third one is almost a tolerable movie. It's weird that third movie is that they adapt Sonic Adventure 2 into a movie, which is kind of a, you know, it's a weird. It's like Keanu Reeves as Shadow, and they keep all the stuff with, like, you know, Eggman's evil father and stuff. I don't think they blow up the moon, though. That was my favorite part of the game, is when they just, like, Eggman, like, blows up the moon.
Just because you can.
Yeah.
Right?
But yeah, like, people are. I think it's only now that people are trying to take video game movies a bit more seriously, trying to adapt them properly. Like, did you played The Last of Us, right? The first one, at least.
I've played the first one, and I have not watched the show adaptation.
Because that's a adaptation that is, like, pretty much the season one of the show is like a 1-to-1 adaptation of the game, and, like, it has all the flaws doing a 1-to-1 adaptation, but at least they're trying to take it seriously. It's like, we're going to be doing exactly whatever the game was and make it popular. Last of Us Season 2, though, which adapts the first part of the second game, they soften it, take a lot of liberties in it. And, you know, one of the big ones, they just now say that the trans character, who's a big thing of the character, is a trans boy in the game. They casted a cis person to play them, so that's kind of skeptical. I'm kind of skeptical about that, but also, you know, the whole thing about a game about the fruitlessness of revenge and anger and rage, and they take the character that is supposed to be angry and pissed off and make him kind of soft and cuddly. Kind of misses the point.
Yeah, a little bit.
But yeah, like, we're doing this because the Super Mario Galaxy movie comes out in when this episode releases, it'll come out in a few days, I think. And did you ever watch that movie?
The Illumination one?
Yeah.
No, I didn't. I meant to actually watch it as preparation for this, just in case we got on that tangent, but I didn't find the time.
Yeah. It feels like Illumination movie. It's a lot of, using 80s pop songs and stuff instead of iconic Mario music, and just having, very, Chris Pratt's a horrible Mario voice. Say we have Bob Hoskins, at least he's doing something. The actors in this are trying.
No, I know. I think they are not the problems with this movie.
100%. But I also feel like your kids are probably maybe it'd be fun to watch with your son, the Mario Bros. Movie. I think he might be getting close to that age.
I thought about it. I really did. They enjoyed the much to my dismay because they wanted to watch it several dozen times. The Illumination Grinch movie. It's not what I grew up with, but it's fine.
Yeah.
If you know what I mean. And it was really just a timing thing. I probably would have watched it with him if we had done this. If the time leading up to this had let it. I think he could probably handle it. I don't think there's anything too scary.
Oh, not really. There's even the scariest thing, quote unquote, be some of the dry bones popping up, but they're even play for very fun comedic relief.
Fair enough. I mean, I played the original Mario game, stepping on those turtles and those Goombas when I was 4. He's 4 now, so
and the Goombas actually look like the Goombas in this are bizarre.
Yeah, they are.
We'll crack into it, but it's also how this one initially got off the ground was the producer for this film, Jaffe, pitched a draft to the son-in-law of the president of Nintendo at the time, and eventually got a meeting with the president of Nintendo. They liked the pitch so much that I was like, all right, here's a $2 million contract, and you get temporary control of the Mario character. We retain all merchandising rights, but for the sake of this movie, you have control of the character.
Okay. Which
is an insane thing to give up for a movie.
You always hear about Nintendo being fairly, business savvy.
Yeah.
That seems a wild decision to make.
Because, and what was it? Jaffe would later say, I think they looked at the movie as some sort of strange creature that was kind of rather intriguing to see if we could walk or not.
Fair enough.
Which, it's kind of funny, because they are pretty much, they're cracking into the film market now with those 2 Mario movies, and there's a Legend of Zelda movie that's on the way.
Yeah, I heard about that.
Directed by Wes Ball. He directed the Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, and that movie is an interesting call to adventure part of it, which I think would actually really work well for a Zelda movie. I just don't think Link should be talking.
No, probably not.
But yeah, even the Illumination Mario Bros. Movie, that's also giving up a lot of creative control, in my opinion, too, because it is it has the iconography, which this movie does not have, but it's still very much this is not in my opinion, it's not Mario, it's something that looks like Mario.
That's fair. I could see that.
Which, yeah.
I mean, that seems to be whenever Illumination takes something that somebody else originated and adapts it, that seems to be kind of what you get. They have their own style. Mm-hmm. They take their style and they sort of burrow into the skin of whatever they're trying to do.
Like the Grinch. Yeah. What I had fun watching that Grinch movie. It's not a great movie, but it's not a bad movie.
No.
But it's so weird that Benedict Cumberbatch is just doing a American voice and not doing his typical British or the Doctor Strange kind of serious voice.
Yeah.
It's a real choice. Why not just hire some American actor to play him? It's not like the little kids are gonna be every little kid's gonna be I'm gonna see the Grinch movie. And I'm I will see the Grinch movie if they have a good actor as playing the Grinch there. Maybe Benedict Cumberbatch type. That's not how kids think. But
no, but whatever. I mean, I don't know. That movie's fine.
Yeah. Are your kids into Minions?
No, they don't know about Minions.
Oh, lucky.
If you tell them about Minions, I will haunt you.
I will not do that. No, I will not subject them to that.
Yes, they'll probably discover Minions at some point, just theoretically. But at least I have whatever can be done to lengthen that time. I'm okay with.
Did you ever watch Mortal Engines?
No.
Did you read Mortal Engines?
I did not.
And in that movie, there's a part where in some museum for old Earth and stuff, because basically it's that whole thing is about cities that live on top of giant steam engines and stuff, and run around the country and drive around the country. There's one part was an ancient museum, and the ancient museum has all kinds of Minions on display. I think Sony produced that too, or whoever produced it owned them. Is Universal Minions? Whatever. But yeah, the Mario movie, Harold Ramis, he turned down the opportunity to direct. So they were trying around for several years to get this off the ground, but Jaffe went to the Max Headroom creators, Rocky Morton, Annabelle Jankel, And they wanted to create a movie that was kind of based on reality but exaggerated in every way possible. They compare themselves to being like Tim Burton. And it kind of makes sense because the big movies around that point in time were the Tim Burton Batman movie and the Ninja Turtle movies, which was the Ninja Turtles movie, which was like they're kind of darker in tone and stuff like that, but kids kind of gravitate towards it. So you can kind of see how this movie could actually exist after you kind of look at the movies that are around it. Because like if you look as in a vacuum, this is the most bizarre creation ever. But like oh yeah, there is some sort of Batman, there is some sort of Ninja Turtles kind of thing too. I think there's a lot of Ninja Turtles in this movie, in the sense that like it is kind of like
I can see that.
Multiple worlds and stuff like that. There's like even the lighting's like a Ninja Turtles movie.
Yeah, the lighting, even and this just might be a way that they I'm thinking about the Goombas specifically. Even just the way they move kind of feels a little bit Ninja Turtlesy, like the choreography, shall we say?
Yeah,
feels a bit Ninja Turtlesy.
Mm-hmm. And so when they were coming with this movie, like Morton in his mind thought it was like a prequel to the video game. So this is the origin of the Mario Brothers entering these weird worlds and stuff. And looked at it as like a mix between Japanese fairy tales and modern America. And it's like, well, why don't we put in something elements of Die Hard, Mad Max, and Blade Runner? And you can absolutely see the Blade Runner influence and the Mad Max influence, I think.
Which are two things that I never thought I'd see compared to Mario.
Yeah.
Just a note for the people in the audience who might be a little bit younger. At one point, Mario was like legitimately from Brooklyn. Like they seem to have dropped that in like any modern depiction of him. But that was from day one a part of that character originally for some reason. So like that's probably the one and only faithful part of this movie.
Yeah. It's weird that like Mario is like not even considered really a human much, because like, do you play Mario Odyssey?
I did. No.
So in Mario Odyssey, you go to like New Donk City, which is like a rip off of New York City, and like there's humans in that look like more like normal humans than like Mario does. And Mario's like almost like a different species compared to other humanoids. Yeah.
But like if you look in the instruction manual, because that's where games put their stories back in the day, it literally talks about him being a plumber from Brooklyn. Mm-hmm. And I'm pretty sure the fact that he's been a plumber has never ever been relevant in any of the games ever.
No. And they try to do a lot of plumbing in this movie.
You know what? I work with a lot of plumbers. Yeah. I'm not a plumber myself, but like I appreciated that.
Yeah.
I didn't get that when I watched it as a kid, but like, they tried about it.
It's a good way for them to actually be able to like solve problems without it being like, how do they figure out how to do this?
Yeah.
Because like in the Mario games, it's a platformer, right? So all you solve your problems was jumping on top of a Goomba or throwing a fireball at something.
Yeah, and since these are meant to be human characters, they don't have superhuman jumping abilities unless they get special boots.
Yeah. And so, let me mention that already. And so, like, around this point in time, like, so they had the idea in mind, but they ditched some of the writers, so they had involved because they thought it was too comedic. So then they brought in some writers that would expand the movie to make it a bit more adult and feminist. They wanted the women to have bigger roles in the story, which they actually do in the end.
Particularly on the villain side of things. What's her name supposed to be?
Lena.
Lena, yes.
Yeah.
I know all the like named villain characters are named after Bowser/Koopa's children in Mario 3 and Mario World, but I couldn't remember what her name was. Yeah. She has a fairly big role.
Yeah, like Fiona Shaw, who is like what's her face, Dursley in Harry Potter. She's in.
That's where I've seen her before. Oh wow!
Yeah.
Okay,
she's a great actress. She's in a lot of things. She was a villain in True Blood. She was in Bad Sister. There's a million things she's been in. She's like a very talented actress, and like she looks so young because like you don't really see her. I don't think I've seen her in anything that predates Harry Potter.
But I guess this.
Yeah. So at this point in the story, at this point of the production, the cast signed on to the movie. But then the director started panicking about the movie being too dark, so they hired the Bill and Ted creator Ed Solomon to give it a bit more of a family-friendly script, so that kids can appreciate more.
I will say about this movie, having watched it as a young child, it doesn't look like a kid's movie, but it definitely feels like one. Mm-hmm. If you see, like, when you see the like dialogue and the like plot and all this stuff, but the movie itself does not look like a kid's movie.
And I don't think I watched this as a kid. I knew about it as a kid, but I heard it was so different than the video game, so I was not interested in watching it. I think I watched it the first time as a teenager. It might have just been on TV or something like that, and I thought nothing of it. I liked it a lot more this viewing. Like, I watched it again during COVID, didn't like it, but then again, like any movie I watched during COVID, I was a very, very cynical phase. I definitely liked it the most I've ever I liked it the most this viewing than I did any previous viewing.
Yeah, I was telling Brian as we were setting up to record, like, I unironically like this movie. I do not think it's a good movie, but I unironically like it.
Yeah. It's a fun one. Around this point in time, Disney acquired the distribution rights through their Hollywood Pictures label, and they requested even further rewrites. They wanted more family-friendly elements, but the... so, like, you hear a lot of like Bob Hoskins, John Leguizamo, and Dennis Hopper. They all say the directors were just a disaster to work with. Apparently, because they're a married couple, they would bicker a lot on the set. Plus, they would not seem to they would make a choice. One of them would make a choice, but they wouldn't seem to have discussed it before making that choice. So they argue even more and keep just doing more crazy things and trying to rewrite things that go along. Like, Morton believed that, screenplay is never done. Like, it's all the actors contributed. So it must be very loose feeling on set, which is probably a bit of a nightmare for someone like Dennis Hopper, who, like, only started to be there for a few weeks, had to overextend his stay to film extra scenes. Because one thing that happened is, like, they started filming scenes, like, that had strippers in it, because, like, it was, more adult, seedy world this place is. Everyone's like, why did you film this? This is going to get cut out anyway. And of course, at the end, it did get cut out, because why did Disney have this as part of their movie? And, the movie even got the production. David Snyder, who was a production designer for Blade Runner, he worked on this movie, which is, like, makes a lot of sense. Like, the actual, like, the main street of Dino Hatton actually kind of looks like the place in Blade Runner.
Oh, the sets look great.
They look really good. They look so good.
The special effects in general and the set design and all that stuff looks great in this movie, especially for the time period.
Yeah.
It just doesn't make sense for this movie.
Yeah.
If that makes...
And they put a lot of money towards it, clearly. Like, this is not like, you hear about this movie, you hear about the reputation it has of being a very bad movie, but, like, no, it has a lot of cash flow behind it. The effects look good. This is before, just before Jurassic Park, or they're making the same time as Jurassic Park, and, like, even they knew that they were making dinosaur movies together, and some of the they made a choice with this movie. We're gonna make our dinosaurs look cuter, because Jurassic Park's gonna have more realistic looking dinosaurs.
The two teams apparently consulted on animatronic puppet design as well, because apparently one of the animatronics in this is, like, one of the most advanced wire puppets that like anybody had ever made at that point. Which, again, is crazy that it's this movie.
It's so wild. And, like, like, I've seen people, like, is this movie actually reclaimed or not? But, like, a couple years ago, Umbrella Entertainment, nothing to do with the Umbrella Corporation from Resident Evil.
Oh, good.
They released this 4K set of Mario Bros. It was, like, it's, like, $150 set of, like, packed full of special features and stuff. And one of the things they did, too, is they made something called the lasagna work print, where they took 5 different VHSs. Remember you found the one extended VHS version on Internet Archive?
Right. Yes, I did.
Apparently there's 5 different VHS versions of this movie.
Okay.
And they apparently stacked them together like lasagna and made an extended cut of this movie that adds about 20 more minutes.
So is this, when you and I talk about movies together, are we only allowed to talk about movies that have, like, weird extended, like, layered assembly cuts?
I think so, yeah.
Is that the thing?
Yeah. I know for me, it's just, like, if a movie has an extended cut that actually got released, I mean, just people clamoring behind it, because I think people always want the movie to be better in some way. And something like the Mario Bros. Movie, like, if you hear, like, oh, there's an extended cut out there that's, like, 20 minutes longer, like, oh, is that a better version? And something like Alien 3, which, like, has a longer cut, which is better.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's an example of, like, shit, like, this is a better movie to watch. Like, the previous episode I did was Sucker Punch, and that movie has an extended cut that is better. Doesn't save the movie, but it's a better cut. I
have not checked out that episode yet. I've got it. I remember you and I saw Sucker Punch in theaters back in the day when it first came out.
Oh, we did, yeah. Yes. Shit. I remember who I saw it with. Yeah. Oh, man, that movie is a oof.
Yeah. I'm going to have to check out that episode.
But, yeah, because that movie had, like, I couldn't find this lasagna work print online. I'm sure if I did some, Sail of the High Seas, I could probably have found a version of it, but, like, I wasn't going to spend, like, $250 on buying a special edition just for this. But I did find on a Plex server, someone did upload the 4K transfer of the movie for it. So I watched the 4K transfer. It looks gorgeous, which is kind of surprising that they would put that much care into a 4K transfer of this movie.
That seems to be the recurring theme about the care and effort put into this movie.
Yeah. That's what I think is so cool with the boutique Blu-ray industry right now. Like, I have a lot of Vinegar Syndrome movies, and those are ones where like people find the cruddiest movie on the planet and give it such good care and restoration, and like to charge like $40-50 for it. But like, it's like all these movies deserve to be restored in some way, and it's kind of a cool way to like give movies the care and respect that they might not deserve, but like at the end of the day, like, every movie kind of deserves to be seen on a better format if possible. And I remember when this Mario 4K was announced, this whole big set, like that's when I started seeing people kind of come around talking about this movie a lot more, and kind of talking about like how like it always had a little bit of a cult following. People always love the effects and stuff. There's like some crazy fan site just dedicated towards this movie, and I think the fact that this kind of like killed the actually not for a few years, because I think a couple years later is when that Mortal Kombat movie comes out.
Yeah, when you were, I didn't want to contradict you. I don't know what year Mortal Kombat was released, but I know it wasn't far away from this.
Yeah, it's like 95, I believe. That's going to be a future episode probably this year. The new movie coming out. But that was the first video game movie that actually made money. People didn't like it very much, but it made money. I think it's a fine movie. I think it's totally fine. But yeah, this let's get into the plot of it, because this movie is just baffling to think about. Because it's just like, with the Mario movie, you can imagine just like having, the princess is locked in a tower by a turtle guy. Just go through some fantasy land and jump on some Goombas, and then you can just save the princess. Movie's over. This movie does not go that direction at all. It kind of does.
I was thinking about this earlier, and you know what? There's some very specific things that it definitely does that are kind of more faithful than you might expect.
Yeah.
But yeah, it doesn't. It's not. It is. If imagine for your moment, if you will, an 8-year-old whose father has rented this movie from Blockbuster and brought it home, who is very interested in Mario and watching it. Like I said to Brian too. Like, I unironically like this movie. I always have. I'm not just coming on it because I'm on a thing here. But when I watched it for the first time, I was like, "What is going on?"
Yeah.
Even 8-year-old me or 9 or whatever knew that this movie was weird. Like, the very first thing you hear when the movie starts up is like an actual Mario sound effect, so you might think they get it. Mm-hmm. Do you know what the second thing you hear is? A weird spiel about dinosaurs becoming extinct.
Yeah, by the voice of Homer Simpson.
Yes. So immediately at that point, we're off to some sort of random...
I wrote down this intro. So it's an animated prologue to start off. Actually, it starts with almost like a pixelated look to it, which is really cool. So a long time ago, the Earth was ruled by dinosaurs. They were big, so not a lot of people went around hassling them. Actually, no people went around hassling them because there weren't any people yet. Just the first tiny mammals. Because basically, life was good. Then something happened. A giant meteorite struck the Earth. Goodbye, dinosaurs. What if the dinosaurs weren't all destroyed? What if the impact of that meteor created a parallel dimension where the dinosaurs continue to thrive and evolve into intelligent, vicious, and aggressive beings, just like us? And hey, what if they found a way back?
Yeah.
Parallel dimension? Sure, why not?
Why not? Right?
But I love the animation style here. I think it's a very charming way to open up a movie. The best joke, I think, is when like they show like an old lush landscape and it says Brooklyn 65 million years ago, and then it cuts to Brooklyn 20 years ago. And this is where we see a woman played with Samantha Mathis. She's running to a church where she leaves an egg and in a little metal container, as well as a fragment of a meteorite. At a Catholic orphanage. This metal thing opens up like it's like, I don't know. I'm playing a lot of Resident Evil, so it looks like it almost contain like a virus sample or something like that.
Yeah.
And then the contraption opens up to show an egg, and then the egg hatches into a little baby girl.
It does.
And I don't know, if I was a Catholic nun and saw that happen at my orphanage or church, that's going down the well. Like,
yeah. That well, I mean, fortunately for the plot line of this movie, they did not do that.
Yeah.
But, that would definitely...
Or like, I'd raise it with scorn, like Count Frollo did with Quasimodo. Like,
yeah, there'd definitely be some theological discussions that would probably have to take place amidst the members of the convent and and the local... I'm not Catholic. I don't know what the right words are.
With the Pope being called in to address, what happened? So yeah, a girl was hatched. So what does that mean for the abortion debate? What does that mean for when does life begin debate? But it's such a bizarre way to start a movie. But that's how we go. Get to Brooklyn 20 years later. So this is the setting of the movie. So we Now we meet our heroes, Mario, and Luigi Mario.
Yep.
They're called the Mario Bros because it's their last name.
Yep.
And so his full name is Mario, and Luigi Mario. Okay. So it's Bob Hoskins as Mario, and John Leguizamo as I think it's either his film debut or his first big movie.
It's the first thing I can think of seeing him in.
Yeah.
But there might be something else. I don't know.
And they both talk very negatively about working on this movie.
Apparently, they were drunk for a lot of the time.
Yeah. They would get drunk every day and sometimes drink between film takes. Which, like, at the end of the day, like, they're good in the movie.
They were.
Yeah.
It's hard to pinpoint what exactly the problem is with this movie, because I feel like if you, like, take away every piece of it, you'll be like, oh, that wasn't the problem. Oh, that wasn't the problem. Oh, that wasn't the problem. And then you add it all together, and it's kind of like, oh, this doesn't work together.
Some of its parts are a bit of a failure, but, like, I think all the performances are good.
Yeah.
I don't think there's a single weak link at all. Nope. Spike and Iggy are a lot of fun as the henchmen, as Hopper's really fun as Koopa.
I really love that moment where Spike and Iggy become intelligent later on in the movie.
Yeah, and just the way they're rattling things off, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So the Mario Brothers, they're plumbers. There's a program on TV talking about alternative dimensions. And Luigi's reading a news piece in the newspaper in the New York Post about some missing Brooklyn woman. And Mario's like yelling at Luigi, like I can't do a great Bob Hoskins was like, hey, like, we can't afford the New York Post there. And it's like, we got good things like this going on here.
I just want to point out that Brian's Bob Hoskins voice was basically his Watto voice.
Yeah. No money, no pots, no deal. Well, they're both Italian, right? Like, you know.
Are they?
They're both fat Italians. I guess Watto's kind of an alien species. Alien thing. The one thing I love about the Phantom Menace is that, like, it's so... Watto is such an interesting creation because, like, he's offensive, but to a lot of people claim Watto as their own thing to be offended by. Like, Italians believe that the Watto's them, they're offended by that. A lot of Jewish people think that Watto's them and offended by that.
To be fair, he does get a yarmulke in the second movie, so...
So George Lucas did clarify, yes, that Watto is probably supposed to be a Jewish fagin type. Like...
Okay. Fair enough.
but yeah, it's like... John Leguizamo has a great quote with the movie about how, you know, he's like a Latin actor playing Italian, and he's made a joke about how, you know, it's about time because you see a lot of Italians play Latin characters like Tony Montana and Scarface there, so now it's my time to steal an Italian's role. And part of this news broadcast, they say that there's a large construction project that's closed because they found some dinosaur bones in the area, and some New York University students are going to excavate some dinosaur bones. And there's a head honcho of the construction site, Anthony Scapelli, some evil Italian. He wants to dig up. He wants the dig to stop so he can keep building. Keep on building. And we meet Daisy, who's also now played by Samantha Mathis, who is a student who's standing up to this, kind of corporate bigwig type. And it's almost like, it's kind of funny. He's not really Donald Trump coded, but like a lot of villains of his era, when it comes to being real estate mogul or construction mogul, are always Donald Trump coded.
So I definitely got, and maybe I was alone in this, but I definitely got Dennis Hopper's Koopa as more Donald Trump coded than Scapelli would be. Although I will say that given something that happens later on in the movie and something that happens now, I have a feeling, I haven't seen any of this assembly cut, but I have a feeling Scapelli was probably supposed to be a bigger role than he ended up being.
Yeah, there's like two scenes.
Yeah, but they the number of times they reference him in other things, and the number, like, the way they specifically go out of their way to make him have his comeuppance later on in the movie, kind of makes me think he was maybe supposed to have had a bigger role at some point.
Mm-hmm. Did you ever watch Land of the Dead?
Yes, probably.
So that's like because like George Romero, Night of the Living Dead, Dawn of the Dead, Day of the Dead. His fourth movie is Land of the Dead, and it takes place at a zombie apocalypse happen. It's like a high-rise tower. Dennis Hopper is like the rich guy who lives at the top of the tower there. John Leguizamo is also in it.
Okay, no, I have not seen that movie. I'm going to check it out now, though.
Yeah. It's actually pretty good. It's kind of a bit of a forgotten movie compared to the rest of the first three of the Dead movies. But John Leguizamo and Dennis Hopper are both in that movie.
Oh, really?
So it's a reunion of Mario Bros. And like John Leguizamo is more of a poor guy living at the bottom of the tower. So this one's all about class and stuff because zombie apocalypse, there's still people try to live in an expensive high rise, and the rich people they believe they still have the power and stuff. But the zombies have gotten smarter too, so they're kind of getting closer and closer if you want to move up the tower where it's safer. Kind of like what was it? Was it in Fallout 3, 10 Penny Tower?
Yes.
Yeah, where like you get the choice, like you can go to the tower like, do you want to nuke the city that people you just met for like, equivalent of like, 500 pieces of scrap, or let them all live.
Yeah.
I always found that choice in the game to be kind of, it's pure evil what you're doing, but also you're not doing for like a lot of money or anything, or for any moral reasons.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know.
I do it once for fun, but like I would not do a lot in the game.
Yeah, you're kind of like me. I feel like, especially in some video games when you have the ability to make moral choices, I feel like legitimately bad when I make some choices. There's in Knights of the Old Republic, there's an alien that wants to play cards with people. Mm-hmm. He's sad because he keeps winning, and nobody wants to play with him anymore.
Yeah.
And for some reason, my heart just makes me want to play cards with this guy.
Yeah.
So I am clearly at least a little bit soft, if you will.
Mm-hmm. I feel like some video games like Knights of the Republic, the evil choices you make are just pure evil for no real reason.
Yeah.
But like, there's not a lot of moral choices that happen in the Mario movie.
There is not.
But as Daisy's standing up to Scapelli, she's tracked down by a couple goons, Ike and Iggy. One of the guys is played by the valet from Ferris Bueller's Day Off. The other guy is played by Fisher Stevens, who's in like a lot of things. Like he was on Lost, he was in Succession. He won an Oscar for directing Blackfish, that documentary about the whales.
Really?
He produced it, yeah. So he has an Oscar for the whale documentary.
I didn't recognize them from anything. I'm sure I've seen them in other things. I just didn't recognize them.
Yeah, Fisher Stevens also has brown face and Short Circuit.
Oh, good.
Yeah, good actor. And so they're just the goons who work, and they're saying that if they fail this mission, Koopa will kill them. And so Mario and Luigi, their work van stalls, and as Mario's getting some water to cool down the engine, Luigi's at a payphone trying to check to see if they have any jobs coming in, and runs into Daisy, and he starts hitting on her. And Mario's going to be pissed off because he's like, he's forced to buy some bottled water, so he won't let him use the tap.
Yeah, so I remember when we were talking about how at some point when I watched this, I messaged you saying, I remembered way more of this movie than I remembered. I remembered specifically that, like, everybody's got tap water. Yeah. Like, for some reason, it's just, I'm sure that occupies a part of my memory that something much more useful and valuable should be in.
You'll forget your kids' birthdays.
No, I'm not going to forget that, but I'll forget something. Something I should know.
So Luigi offers Daisy a ride, and ultimately they decide to go on a double date with Luigi and Daisy, and Mario and his girlfriend Daniela. And at dinner, they're at some Italian restaurant, of course, and Daisy explains that at the dig site they found a part of a meteorite that could be part of the same meteor that killed the dinosaurs. Daisy's wearing this rock around her neck that we saw at the start of the movie. She talks about how she's an orphan too. Luigi's like, wow, I can relate as well, because like he doesn't know his parents either, because they died when he was very young, and Mario basically raised him as a father figure.
Well, so I kind of read this as like there's a very large age gap between Bob Hoskins and John Leguizamo in this movie. So it wouldn't surprise me if like that was meant to be like literally like an adoptive parent rather than a legitimate brother.
Mm-hmm.
But
it's a strange choice either way, right? Yeah. Mario brothers, you don't like think of them like, oh yeah, Mario raised Luigi.
Yeah, well, I mean, sure, fine. I mean, I guess maybe they threw that line in to explain the age gap because they felt they had to.
Yeah,
I don't know. It had always struck me as odd that Mario looks like he's like 30 years older than Luigi.
Well, part of the reason that Bob Hoskins took the role is because like he says like, I look the part, so why not? Like,
yeah.
And I guess like I don't know, with Leguizamo, maybe thought like we got a young guy who's very charismatic, like. Why not get him? And they're just like write in like why these guys have bizarre age gaps as they go along.
Like we said earlier, they both do a good job with the roles.
Yeah, because they're they're both orphans per se. They can relate to one another. So okay, whatever movie.
So I've never thought of myself as a particularly smooth human being when it comes to flirting, but this was actually painful to watch. Some of the flirting that took place.
God, yeah, it's rough.
Like, okay, whatever, it worked. Sure, I guess.
And there's one flirting scene later on in the underworld that's even more insane.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so after the dinner, Ike and Iggy, they're talking about how like they fucked up all these kidnappings before, trying to find Daisy, trying to find this princess, and they kidnap Daniela, thinking that she's just Daisy in disguise. Neither Mario or Luigi can hear the screams, and at the dig site, Daisy shows Luigi some dinosaur fossils that have opposable thumbs, suggesting some sort of suggesting some sort of evolution they did. And as about to kiss, they see some water main breaks, and it turns out Scapelli's goons have been sabotaging them. So So go back to the apartment. Mario and Luigi get their plumbing gear to go fix it. And Iggy and Spike are around there too. And they knock the Mario Bros. Out and capture the right Daisy this time. And they can hear Daisy yelling, so they start using pipe echoes, which apparently Mario is very good at detecting, to pinpoint where she is.
Why not?
Sure, yeah. How many times is Mario in this Brooklyn like, hey, I can track down this missing lady here by the screams?
I don't know. Look, if you're going to suspend your disbelief over something in this movie, it may as well be that.
Yeah, you got to suspend a lot, but I don't know. I feel like because the production design's so good, you don't have to suspend a lot of disbelief. Because, like, the Goombas look pretty good. The Yoshi looks pretty good. Like,
no, but there's a lot of times you have to be like, yeah, okay, sure, that makes sense, I guess.
I think what makes this movie kind of special is because the stuff you suspend your belief about is the plot more so than the visuals.
Yeah.
Which is kind of a nutso thing, because usually with, I don't know, like a Marvel movie, you suspend, like, okay, well, like, that looks like shit, but, like, I can kind of believe the plot. This one, you're like, well, this looks good, but I don't know what the fuck is happening or why.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah. And so they pinpoint where she is, and I love it. I love when they're walking along these like kind of walls there, trying to find where she is. Like, it looks like a really cool set where they have a lot of running water. It's a very complicated set, and they hear Daisy through a solid wall and they see her face, and Daisy leans through it again, and Luigi tries to grab her, only grabs the necklace, and she falls back through. And Luigi, being the heroic guy he is, he's a little bit horny, he dives right into the wall. Mario slips in and falls as well. And then they transport her kind of disintegrated and reassembled on the other side. And they emerge in a crowded place called Dino Hat. Looks great. I love looking at Dino Hat. Yeah. It looks very much like Blade Runner. It looks kind of like the city on Mars in Total Recall.
What's kind of interesting is they make a note in the preview saying that, like, the because it was destroyed by an asteroid, the, like, Dino parallel universe has no resources.
Mm-hmm.
That's their main reason for wanting to invade Earth. That's one of the, like, yeah, okay, that makes sense, I guess.
Yeah, because
suspension of disbelief I was talking about earlier.
Yeah, because they have this one city there, and then basically everything else is desert.
Yes,
the Kupahari Desert.
Yeah, I mean, look, they had to take the name. Like I said, they did their research into the game to take names for things that look nothing like those things.
Yeah. Well, I guess Daisy is Mario Land, right? And that's Kupahari Desert's in Mario Land or Mario Land 2?
Probably.
One of the two, yeah. Again, the thing about the Mario games is that, like, it's not like Metal Gear Solid where there's, like, the lore is consistent and matters.
No, these people will fight to the death one day and then go golfing together the next day.
Exactly. And, like, you know, even if the new Mario Bros. Movie has, like, a Mario, a go-kart scene because of the Mario Kart and stuff, but, like, yeah, this is just where they had no idea how to adapt to video game movies. It's just whatever the hell we're going to do, we're going to do. So they see, also a big part of the city too, is that we see a giant sign saying elect Koopa for mayor. Like huge signs there that kind of overwhelm the whole city. And our heroes, they see Iggy and Spike pushing Daisy into a cab. And then they get busted by a cop for causing a scene. And then they're easily able to escape by falling through a railing. But then we see a Goomba, or what this film refers to as a Goomba, observing them.
Yep.
The way I would describe Goombas in the games is that they have, like, two little feet. They're kind of like brown mushroom heads with eyes and little fangs, and they move left to right.
Yes.
In this one, the Goombas are, like... It's almost like David Byrne stopped making sense with, like, you know, the small head, giant suit thing. But it's like a little reptile head.
Some of them have little reptile heads. Some of them actually have, like, normal-sized reptile heads. They're in, like, big mobster suits.
Yeah.
And then they have, like, some kind of monstrous head on them. Some of them look like little dino heads, and some of them look like bigger dino, like more human-like dino heads.
Yeah, because like I think that like are some of them supposed to be like Koopalings, and some of them supposed to be Goombas.
I don't know. The movie never explains, and I would speculate that might be the case.
Yeah.
I'm shrugging right now. It's an audio-only medium, but I'm shrugging.
Yeah. So we cut to Koopa's tower, where Koopa, played by Dennis Hopper, he has the most insane hair, where it's like blonde spikes.
Yeah, it's like cornrow spikes.
Yeah, and he's good in this movie. He's a fun villain.
He is. And, like, so, obviously I didn't when I was a kid watching this because I didn't know who he was, but I definitely got Donald Trump vibes this time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I don't know what that says. he's such a recurring villain inspiration. But
what do you think? Who do you think Donald Trump would use a de-evolution ray on?
He'd probably use as much as he could until somebody stopped him.
Yeah. No one would stop him. He starts using de-evolution rays on, I don't know, like migrants, something like that, and Democrats like, well, like, you know, we don't want to defund the de-evolution ray. We want to keep it going just in case we want to use it later on.
Yes.
But, like, you know, the big thing in this movie is that there's de-evolution ray, which basically, like, allows, like, he turns people into Goombas by, you know, takes a person that looks human, but it's apparently a reptile or dinosaur within the underworld, and puts a ray towards them, and then their head shrinks and they become a kind of a mindless Goomba. Their brains get smaller, but also he has the ability to use the evolution ray, which makes their brains become bigger, smarter.
So I guess the premise here is that, like, these people all that live in this Dino Hatton all evolved from dinosaurs, which isn't how evolution works. But again, let's suspend our disbelief for a second there. That it will revert them to a more dinosaur-like state, which is when you get the Goombas, or later on something else.
Honestly, kind of a fun premise for a Mario video game is like having, like, I don't know, like there's dinosaurs in Mario Odyssey kind of thing. You throw a Cappy at it and then you take control of the dinosaur. But if you could just like take a Goomba and evolve it into something different.
Yeah, maybe.
That'd be a lot of fun.
Yeah. Although they do keep some of their intelligence. It seems like. It's a plot point, at least.
Yeah. I guess, like, the plot you see kind of get in a Mario game was that those Paper Mario games.
Yeah.
Those ones have a lot of plot in them.
Yes, they do.
I still need to play Thousand Year Door. I never played that one.
You can. I got it on Switch if you want to borrow it.
Oh, yeah, I definitely have to borrow that. Yeah.
Okay. I'll lend it to you next time I
think
about it.
Yeah, currently I am still waiting for my copy of Resident Evil 9 Requiem to show up. I pre-ordered it February 26th, and it's still not here. And according to Amazon, as of a few minutes ago, it's still stuck in customs.
Brian's using his MoviePod platform to shit on Amazon.
Fuck you, Amazon. You can actually listen to MoviePod on Audible.
Oh, good.
Yes.
Good.
Yeah, fuck you, Amazon. Give me my damn game. It's been like a month. So in the meantime, I've just been playing through Resident Evil 2, 3, and 4 again. And I'm at the point I'm probably going to get the platinum for Resident Evil 4. I just finished a knife gun / no healing / no merchant run. Good. So then
so you didn't once hear, what are you buying?
Well, all I heard was the merchant's like, fulfilled a request, eh? Come on here and take your spindles. I'm like, I can't talk to you, buddy. Sorry. Sorry, it kills medallions at one time, but I felt bad for ignoring the guy the whole time.
Yeah. It makes a point of following you around at least.
Yeah. Yeah, Resident Evil 4, incredible game. But yeah, I'd love to borrow Paper Mario 2 at some point, because I love the first Paper Mario game. That's an incredible game. And Goombas are smart in that game.
Yep.
Bowser wants you... No, I guess Bowser doesn't... Peach makes a cake for Bowser.
In the first Paper Mario.
First Paper Mario, yeah. Yeah, I love that game growing up. Yeah, I should play it again. But, yeah, so, like, the Mario games are just not that plot-heavy, and so they have to, like, add a lot of stuff to kind of make something make sense. But, I don't know, I kind of appreciate what this movie does a lot more than the new Mario Bros. Movie, where it's kind of just, like, it's just nothing really matters in the new one. I don't know, I just find the new Mario Bros. Movie a very unremarkable movie. I find it to be just, like, it's kid slop, right? It's just supposed to be something for little kids, and the parents who are being dragged to the theater to see it. So, like, why don't we have Take On Me by Aha play instead of, like, I don't know, why don't you use all the incredible Mario music you have from the video game series?
Okay, so I was going to talk about this when we actually got to that point, but this movie does license one song, at least one song. Walk the Dinosaur by Was Not Was.
Yeah.
And this song has been fucking stuck in my head since we watched this movie. So you know what, Illumination, you have the opportunity to also use that song. You like to adapt. You like to license songs. You might as well do that.
This is also the second MoviePod episode in a row that has "Love Is the Drug" in it.
Is it?
Because Sucker Punch, the extended cut, not the theatrical cut, has an extended dance sequence with Oscar Isaac and Carly Gugino set to "Love Is the Drug" in the fantasy world.
Oh, okay.
Incredible scene, cut of the theatrical cut, and it's like the best scene in the movie.
Okay.
Yeah, so the Divinos, Love Is the Drug is in this movie when they go to the club.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know. I'm going to see what Love is the Drug is in next to do the following movie. I don't think it's in... When the movie for next time is Xanadu, I don't think Love Is the Drug is in that. I think it's just ELO music.
Probably not.
Yeah. So Dennis Hopper has Koopa as his hair, and he's with his lover, Lena, played by Fiona Shaw, we talked about already. And Koopa hates the world he's looking over. He has to look over because the place gets worse every day. The mammal world has evolved to have plenty of resources. He hates all the funguses in this underworld. Mammals are able to roam free now in like the other dimension, but not for much longer. And with the Rock and Princess Daisy, they're going to merge the worlds together, killing all the mammals. And pretty complicated plot for a video game that's just simply save the princess from a lizard man.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure about how the merging the dimensions thing is supposed to work, but that's all, again, one of those things that you're just like, yep, okay.
Because also, like, so it's supposed to kill one dimension but not the other.
Well, later on, they kind of do start to merge the dimensions. All it seems to do is transport Koopa and some Goombas to Manhattan.
It makes Koopa Tower into the World Trade Center. They're going to have a very rough 2001, I would say.
I do not know what his game plan is after that.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
And so Iggy and Spike tell Koopa the Mario Bros. Have the Rock. Contacts the cops, put alert for their capture. Mario and Luigi just hang around the street, and an old lady tries to steal the Rock. Bertha shows up, and everything I see refers to her as Big Bertha, which, whatever. So Bertha shows up and throws the old lady into the streets and takes the necklace for herself. She activates a pair of thwomp stompers and flies up into the air. Because like thwomp is like the big block thing that lifts up and down.
Yeah, so they definitely, like I said, they definitely did their research to know what to take names for things from. Mm-hmm. No one can accuse them of not having known anything about Mario.
Yeah,
they clearly did. Yeah. They just chose not to use it.
But like you mentioned before, how like video games, especially the Nintendo or Super Nintendo era, where you want to have like a chance to have cutscenes and stuff, you get all this plot information from the manual.
Yes.
It's almost as if they specifically got all their Mario knowledge from the manuals and not playing the games.
Yeah, it could be. I don't know.
Because it doesn't really revolve the gameplay mechanic. Like, there's a lot of fireballs and like not really. There's flamethrowers, there's like fire and stuff, but like it's all just seems like they're just getting plots from the manual, which is actually kind of a fun way to make a movie. There
was an anecdote that I read in one of the trivia things when I was doing my research for this that I forget whether it was Bob Hoskins or Dennis Hopper, but one of them told their kid what movie they were in, and their kid showed them the Mario game, and they were deeply confused by the whole thing.
It was Dennis Hopper, yeah.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah. I knew it was one of the two of them. I can't remember which one.
So she's escaped with the necklace of the Rock, and so there's an anti-Koopa musician on the street named Toad. He's playing a song about how shitty the world is, and Toad and the Bros get arrested. The Goombas, I love when the Goombas just moving around, because it's a really just guys there must be just guys in a suit and then just having an animatronic head on top.
Yeah, that's what it is. It's a guy in a suit with maybe a frame on his shoulder to make it look like the shoulders are broader than there.
Yeah.
And then the things on that's what it is.
I truly love the effect. And so the Goombas they're shuffling around. They take Daisy to a prison room with the other kidnapped women, including Daniela. So this is where all the Brooklyn ladies are. And at the police station, Mario and Luigi, they're placed in prison, so it's almost like a chicken coop, one top one another. Toad explains the whole parallel dimension thing to the brothers, and apparently the fungus is in the city is the old king that was de-evolved by Koopa.
Sure, why not?
Yeah. So I guess it goes like you in this world you go from dinosaur to fungus to human looking.
Well, or you have concurrent evolution where some people are fungus and some people are dinosaurs.
Yeah.
Apparently, Koopa himself is Tyrannosaurus Rex, the Lizard King, as he says. Although no one else seems to be. So,
yeah, I guess Nintendo figured out evolution with Pokemon.
You mean they learned it from Pokemon, or
they figured it out? They figured out how evolution works.
Did they?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know. I'm afraid to give a moonstone to my dog to see what she turns into next.
Your sister's a biologist. I'm going to tell her about this.
Evolution's ball hockey. They should teach the Mario Bros. Movie in science class.
Sure. You know what? Sure.
Is it better for let's say you have a school where you're a kid, so would you rather go to school where evolution does not exist at all, or have it be evolution does exist? Here's Mario to explain how it can kind of work. I guess you're probably
I guess given those two choices, sure.
I guess the choice is maybe you send your kid to a better school.
Yeah, given those two choices, no other choice. Yes.
So, so all the fungus is there's a lot around the city. It's just almost it almost looks like peeled skin almost. Like it's just like it's like a pale kind of like gooey thing, fungus.
Yeah,
it's all over the place. So the Mario Bros get assigned a lawyer who ends up being Koopa, who drops the facade pretty quick and demands for them to take the de-evolution chamber. Toad is taking the chamber first, though. So he's strapped in this de-evolution chamber. It's almost like in Empire Strikes Back when Darth Vader's little meditation chamber there. He's like locked into place. This thing that kind of falls on top of him. Toad's head goes up, and it's just so funny because I remember, like, you know, growing up and playing Mario Kart, so like, you know what Toad looks like, and it's like, really, that's Toad.
I thought it was kind of a fun reference to, like, so Toad in Mario is like a different kind of mushroom person than the Goombas are. Mm-hmm. So having him specifically get de-evolved is kind of an interesting move to make.
They almost got Tom Waits to play Toad in this movie.
Oh, really?
They got I'm blanking the guy's name right now. They got some other like rockabilly musician. Yeah, so this Toad, he turns into a Goomba himself, but he's a special Goomba. We'll see him come back later on.
He has a harmonica, so you know it's him.
Yeah. And Koopa says his ancestor was a T-Rex, and that he will threaten to de-evolve all the Mario Bros. Unless they give him the meteor piece. If they don't have it, they're able to escape pretty. You know, they push him away, and as they're fleeing, they see some fungus, and some of the fungus seems to be offering them a little bomb. The bomb, if you don't know, is like a little, like, you know, stereotypical like black bomb with a fuse on it. Has eyes. It has a little bit of has some feet to walk around with.
It's got like a key to wind it up, so that the feet. So it's like a wind up toy, except it explodes.
It's from Mario Bros. 3, right? That's where it first came in? I don't think it was in Mario 2.
Mario 2 was a reskinned version of a completely unrelated game.
Yeah.
I believe it was in Mario 3 for the first time.
But Shy Guys are in Mario 2.
Yes, they are.
Yeah.
So a lot of stuff got adapted later on. Birdo as well.
Yeah. Weird game.
That is also a weird game.
Mm-hmm. The day we're recording this is the day that the Game Boy Advance turns 25 years old.
Really?
Yeah.
Ah, that was actually the first platform I played Mario World on.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
That game, my Game Boy Advance is over there, and I'm pretty sure that's the game I played the most on it. And, yeah, I was thinking, because, like, one of the first big games was Game Boy Advance was Super Mario Advance, which is just a remake of Mario Brothers 2.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep. I had Mario Bros. 2 on the original NES, so I think I passed on that one on the GBA.
Mm-hmm. I remember playing it at your place, but remember liking Mario Bros. 1, Mario Bros. 3 the most.
Yeah. Mario Bros. 2 is just, it doesn't play anything like the rest of the games, and it's kind of weird. It's fine.
Yeah. Speaking of Nintendo games, I saw a photo of this on Twitter the other day of, like, silly original Nintendo games. I remember playing at your place. Remember Fester's Quest?
Yes, I do actually remember Fester's Quest.
So Fester's Quest, it's an Addams Family video game where you play as Uncle Fester, and it's like almost like you're just like, you know, it's like you play, it's like top down thing. You're playing in a grid, and like you're like shooting things with like a Fester gun. I forget what the gun is, something like that. But I remember seeing the cover's hilarious because the idea, it's a really funny idea for gameplay as Uncle Fester.
I don't remember why, and it kind of pains me now that you brought it up. I was thinking about that game the other day for some reason. I was trying to remember any details about it, but it just popped into my mind that it existed, and I don't think too many other people know that it exists.
Yeah, because like people like I saw the photo and people were like, "Oh, I didn't know this game existed." I'm like, I played a fair amount of that game. I think I saw like at least one turn as a kid playing it at your house. Like, yeah. Not Mario, but Uncle Fester.
Fester's Quest.
Yeah. And we had a Game Genie as well, so like maybe use all the cheats to actually beat the game.
Yeah, back in the day, you had to have a book of cheats to enter into your cheat engine.
Yeah,
to do anything in games. Yeah. There's like a separate cartridge that it plugged into.
Yeah. And the one thing that made the Mario games actually pretty good is you actually did not need to cheat to beat them.
No,
they were actually really fair games.
No, but a lot of the NES games evolved out of the arcade mentality of like wanting to steal all your quarters.
Yeah,
so a lot of them are pretty hard.
Yeah. And truly the ones that stood the test of times were the ones that did not have that quality to them. But the best ones are the ones that actually are fair to beat. They don't pick up the bomb as they're running away. Some Goombas chasing them. They're shooting their flamethrowers. Like they have these guns that basically are supposed to, I think it's supposed to be like the fireballs in the games.
Yeah.
But like, it's cool because you get these animatronic things shooting fireballs at Bob Hoskins and John Leguizamo or their stunt doubles. And it's like, that's all practical. It rules.
Yeah. Like, the movie, somebody in their special effects budget was doing their job.
Yeah.
Because it's great from that perspective.
They they get to like a police. So like there's like they basically almost like slide from like they're hanging on to something and they are able to like slide down to a police garage from like these overhanging things. At the police garage, they steal a bunch of police car that's like, and they're pretty much tethered to like almost a streetcar like system. But then they're able to go off the rails with that. Luigi's able to operate the police car, which has a weird controls. Like yeah, I'm good at video games, so he's able to figure it out pretty quickly.
Yeah, sit in my butt playing video games all day. That's how.
Yeah, which like kind of funny is like, you know, I don't think like because like what the video games back then, let's say 1993, generously like. You're using a Super Nintendo controller. I don't think you'd be able to drive a car with that.
Probably not, but whatever. They threw that in because of the movie it was, probably.
Yeah. And this chase scene is actually pretty good. A lot of cars explode, which is awesome. They get like their car lodged on top of another car. And like they're joking about how like hopefully the guy beneath us knows where to go. And then they take an exit tunnel to the Kupahari Desert. But the tunnel's not finished yet, so the car shoots out of the tunnel, but it's caught by a fungus sac almost, and like they're able to like be caught by that, so they don't plummet to their deaths. And yes, and again the fungus seems to be helping them. And Daisy's meanwhile back in Koopa Tower. She learns that she's Princess Daisy. She is royalty. And Iggy and Spike, they're putting the de-evolution machine, but they turn the dial from de-evolution to evolve, and they basically become smarter. So, like, they get a better vocabulary. Iggy's able to, or I forget which one's which, but, like, one is going to tell the other, like, what the square root of, 200 or something is. Like, oh, it's 191.
It's always interesting to see what different writers think a smarter person would do.
Yeah.
Because these guys get like wordier, and their like Brian said, their vocabulary increases, but they get a lot more. It seems like they get a lot more talkative at this point too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
which is just it's an interesting take on like Flowers for Algernon that I've never seen before.
Yeah, and like thing is that they were chatty before, but it's also a lot of like bickering they did before, and like I like how the actors play it. The actors play it so well, where it's like they're still the same characters, but they are playing them smarter.
Yeah, no, they were. It is actually well done.
Yeah.
Which, again, this movie, somehow.
Yeah, it's like, this is a movie that somehow is, like, is it worse than its parts? Because all its parts seem so interesting.
Yeah, like, it is somehow worse than the sum of its parts.
Yeah. Because it's just like the whole product is like, why this movie? But you kind of like, there's truly nothing like this movie.
No.
And, so, Daisy's waiting in the room because, like, she's, like, they need her for this whole ritual to, like, get the meteorite back in to, like, merge dimensions. And she meets Yoshi.
Yeah.
Or what this movie considers to be Yoshi. Which Yoshi in this is, like, looks like a bit of a velociraptor. It's animatronic.
Yeah. So what I mentioned earlier, that apparently one of the most advanced wire puppets that had ever been in a movie at any point, this is the one I was talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently took 9 people to operate.
Yeah.
There's if you look online in the right place, there's a picture of the production where it showed all those people operating it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and like we talked to Alien 3 a while back, and like seeing all the stuff about the rod puppets there for that, but like for them to do the kind of like quadruped xenomorph running around and stuff, and like there's just something with the practicalness that looks like this looks so realistic. It looks like there's like some sort of creature. Like I like the way it moves a lot.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's just something about having the puppetry and the animatronics that make it just seem like you're watching something that's real.
Well, so depending on how the puppet's constructed, like when you look at like bones and ligaments and things like that, there's certain ranges of motion that things can have.
Mm-hmm.
And similarly, a puppet is limited by that same thing. And if somebody's doing their CGI creation well, they would take that into account, but it's a lot easier to make things move in ways that feels disingenuous.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like I think the dinosaur in this looks better than the dinosaur in the Jurassic World Rebirth, which like I don't think the dinosaurs look terrible in that, but like, just something about the practicality of it looks really cool.
Yeah, I mean, like I still think of the original Jurassic Park as like a wealth of practical effects, and this is on par with basically anything in those movies.
Which is insane to think. The Jurassic Park 1 and this movie came out the same year.
Yeah, I know.
And like it's crazy that we're talking about the same. Like And we're not even just saying like, oh yeah, because this movie, we're trying to gas up this movie, but like, no, it looks really good.
Yeah, and I mentioned this before. When I was doing my research for this, I saw that the two teams were actually like in communication as they were making this. The Jurassic Park team came to the site to see the Yoshi puppet because it was advanced for the...
Yeah.
Again, why for this movie?
Yeah. Did you ever watch Tammy and the T-Rex?
I did not.
Have you heard about Tammy and the T-Rex?
Only because of you.
Yeah. So Tammy and the T-Rex is a movie. It has Denise Richards and Paul Walker, where Paul Walker's character gets killed and his brain gets put inside of a T-Rex. So the production of this movie is that basically some amusement park or attraction like that, they had one animatronic T-Rex, and after Jurassic Park, like, how can you make money off of this? So basically they just like, well, we have this one animatronic can move around just a little bit. The range of motion is not that great. Like, so just have one dinosaur prop and like, let's just make a movie off of this, and it's so much fun. I would highly recommend Taming the T-Rex to anyone listening right now because it's a really fun movie.
I'll have to check it out.
I have the vinegar syndrome of it over there.
Yeah, I remember seeing you get it actually.
Yeah. But yeah, so Koopa tells Daisy that this Yoshi is a true dinosaur. It's not some de-evolved or re-evolved thing. This is like a true dinosaur that existed within this dimension.
He's a pet of the royal family.
Yeah. I remember like not seeing this movie and thinking like hearing just like, people shit on it and like it's like, oh, like this is what Yoshi looks like in this bad movie, this is what Toad looks like in this bad movie. But actually watching it, it's like they actually look really creative what they're coming up with for these designs. Even like, I don't know, if you were to actually make a live action Yoshi that looked like, you know, our friend Yoshi's, you know, the green thing that like, you know, his big red tongue, like it will look terrible.
This Yoshi still has a big red tongue.
It does, yes.
Yes. But yeah. No, I mean, I think you need to go into this movie and sort of suspend your expectations for what things look like and just kind of, like, take it for what it is.
Mm-hmm.
And you'll probably like it more. Yeah. Like, because it's not a very good Mario adaptation.
No, it's a bad adaptation, but it's a lot of fun.
Yeah. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah. So, back in the desert, Mario and Luigi, they're bickering. But Spike and Iggy and Spike find them, and now they're all smart. And they get into this like go-kart dune buggy thing that looks like something from Mad Max. And you know, and the actors are actually driving it around, which kind of that's going to increase the insurance liability a fair amount. They're driving a little bit, and they end up driving this little cart over the cliff. And the Mario Brothers go to the wreckage, and they learn from Iggy and Spike that all about Koopa's plan. Luigi offers to trade them the rock for Daisy. They provide the information description for Bertha, who is the one that has the necklace right now. At this point, like pretty much Iggy and Spike, because they're superior intellect now, trying to plot against Koopa. They kind of do not want to be subservient anymore. So they, in the desert, they see a garbage truck and they find some garbage men who are supposed to be the sniffed gas mask Shy Guys.
Oh, is that what that is?
Yeah.
Okay.
So the Shy Guys that just have the gas mask on rather than just the white, like, kind of, whatever, kabuki face on. They, so they steal, they knock these guys out. I think, Bob Hoskins, Mario uses like, a plunger on him.
Oh.
yeah, on the face, which is pretty fun.
Yeah, you're right.
And they get to, back to the city, and they go to, the Boom Boom Bar, which is where you start hearing the Love is the Drug song with the Divinyls. And, there's a lot of people dancing here. It also reminded me a lot of that scene in Total Recall, the scene with the three-breasted lady.
Yeah.
Where it's like a kind of a big, kind of a lot of interesting designs and costumes.
Yep.
A lot of dancing is here where we get to hear Walk the Dinosaur. And Mario gets up to a Big Bertha trying to seduce her, and he gets punched in the face. And it's clearly him getting closer is not working. So he starts using some reverse psychology on her, and it works to start dancing together. And it's some pretty good choreography of them dancing. As they're dancing, he sneakily steals a necklace from her. And
he sneakily steals the necklace. He tries to eat it out of her cleavage.
Oh, yeah! That is a better way to describe it, yep. Again, this is a kid's movie. There's not a lot of cleavage diving in the Illumination Mario Bros. Movie.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh.
Maybe the new Super Mario Galaxy movie will have some cleavage diving, but
maybe.
Who knows?
Maybe.
So, maybe the Motorboat Rosalita or something. And so the co-check person has ratted them out, and so Lena and a bunch of Goombas show up, and they drop the necklace. It falls through a grate, but Lena's able to catch it in time. And Bertha gives them the pair of Thwomp Stompers, and the brothers are able to fly away. Luigi sees some fungus again, sees that the fungus has another bomb, almost like the fungus trying to give it to them. Again, they don't take it this time, and the brothers are able to escape on top of another garbage truck. But there's a lot of scenes like this which are hard to describe because they're just, it's more of a visual thing, but like all the stuff on the streets in this urban environment of them dealing with all this chaos stuff, it's choreographed pretty well. It's shot really well. There's a lot of cool things all in the background as well. Like the stores have different names that are referencing Mario characters and elements and stuff. Like, it's a really fascinating design. I love how all these scenes look. Yeah, so they escape via a garbage truck, and the garbage truck drops them off outside of Koopa Tower. And at the tower there, Mario uses his plumbing knowledge to block some valves, which sets off an alarm at the building. And they sneak inside, and they steal some mechanics uniforms. Green for Luigi, red for Mario, and get into the elevator. Now they kind of look like Mario and Luigi from the games.
Yeah, I mean, they're in the right colors. They look close enough that they're to their, like, iconic figures that they definitely read as Mario and Luigi.
Yeah, which is kind of funny, because, like, they could just do the simple, just, like, I don't know, like, having the overalls be the right color, but, like, it is, like, a mechanic suit instead.
Yeah.
So, like, it does look almost, it's on the poster of the movie, how they don't look exactly like Mario and Luigi in the games, but, like, for a movie as exaggerated as this with this reality, it works.
Like in the Netflix Daredevil show, when he starts off in a different costume and then gets the iconic Daredevil costume halfway through.
Have you seen that one tweet about Surf Dracula?
No.
The tweet is that, like, back in the 70s, there'd be a show called Surf Dracula, where Dracula, uses a surfboard to solve crimes every week. A modern adaptation of Surf Dracula would have Surf Dracula be all sad, and then in the final episode of season 1, he'll get his surfboard. And that's what Daredevil was like, right? Where he doesn't get his costume or anything until the very final episode of that season.
Yeah, but at this point in this movie, when they get their costumes, they're like...
Yeah.
They're like... We're like... It's an hour and 40 minutes, and we're probably like an hour and change into the movie.
Mm-hmm. And also, like, it's funny that the directors believe that this is the origin, this is the prequel of the Mario Bros. Universe. So this is actually where they got their costumes in their mind. And... and they're in the elevator, and a bunch of Goombas begin to fill it. And Luigi gets an idea from the elevator music playing. He's like, hey, everyone likes to dance. So with everyone likes to dance, he kind of like starts shuffling them a little bit. And they all start dancing together in the elevator. Really, really funny scene. And they're all distracted, not paying attention to Mario and Luigi in the elevator. And Lena, she returns to the tower with Spike and Iggy as prisoners. Lena pulls out a knife and begins to threaten Daisy with it. And Yoshi, he uses his big red tongue, and pulls Lena over. Daisy escapes, but Yoshi gets stabbed, which I forgot happens, and then...
Look, why include a knife if you're not going to use it? It's like Chekhov's gun.
Yeah, but, like, Yoshi doesn't even get stabbed, like, viscerally in, like, a Smash Bros. Game.
Yeah.
Like, it's like Yoshi, it's like, oh no, poor Yoshi. And so Lena is now in pursuit of Daisy, and Mario and Luigi, they find, like, a bottomless pit. It's full of fungus, and Mario falls down, and he's saved by the fungus, like, creates almost like a trampoline thing where he's jumping up and down as Luigi's trying to catch him. It's a pretty fun sequence, but, like,
Yeah.
I mean, like, it's like, again, like, some really cool production design for all these scenes here, but it's not kind of like, keep the plot going. This plot's already confusing enough.
When do they throw in the trust the fungus line? Is this around now? Or
it's around now,
yeah. Because it seemed like they were trying to make that, like, may the force be with you.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
they used it a few times, and, like, one of the extended cuts of this movie, there is the lasagna work print, but there's also the Trust the Fungus cut, which is like a slightly longer director-approved version.
Oh, really? Fair enough.
Yeah. It's like, it's a funny line, right? But, like...
It is.
It's one of those things that I'm surprised they haven't tried to throw into, like, a Mario game itself, because, like, in the games like Mario, Trust the Fungus, he, you don't trust the purple fungus. That gives you that hurts
every
you.
other fungus. That's
yeah. You gotta get a 1-up, or you gotta become super big. And so Daisy runs into her. She's on the run. She runs into her father in fungus form. This looks like something from Alien, where it's like a giant, like almost like it's like all kinds of goo and stuff, and then something kind of falls from like a bit of a tube almost. A bit of a spherical bit of fungus. Some disgusting.
Yes, thing. It is. It is definitely kind of gross.
It's disgusting looking, but it is her father in fungus form. And Yoshi shows up, and Daisy takes the knife out of poor Yoshi. Luigi meets up with Daisy, and they're captured. So they get taken to the meteor room, and Lena, who is not of royal blood, tries inserting the shard back into the meteor. And the energy burst kills her and turns into a skeleton.
Yes, it electrocutes her into a skeleton.
And it's just like a fossil on the wall, which is a great death, actually. I love it. And Daisy was like, oh, only I can merge the dimensions because I am royalty. Mario, he is in the fortress too. He finds Danielle and the missing Brooklyn girls, and they find what they call a Goomba mattress and take the mattress and go down a pipe.
Yes, I remember that. Yeah. Okay.
Which is kind of like, okay, why a Goomba mattress? Is that like a thing? Like,
well, they were in the Goomba barracks.
True, yeah, but the way they phrase it, it's just like, oh, Goomba mattress. Everyone knows what Goomba mattress is.
Yeah, I don't know. They were specifically in the Goomba barracks part of it for whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
So that's why they said Goomba. It just
the line is like,
it just feels like a weird delivery.
Yeah. And honestly, this sequence where going to the pipe is pretty good too, where it's like the Goombas are in chase as well, and Mario uses his plumbing ability, takes a wrench and like puts it into like the ground there, and the Goombas and their mattress hit the wrench and go like fall out, and the mattress launches onto the streets, and on the streets they encounter Koopa, who has a flamethrower, and because the stone's kind of put in place, dimensions are starting to merge right now. So Danielle and the woman are supposed to be warning the dig site about the invasion, which, like, I'm sorry, but like, if you are show up in New York City, in Brooklyn, like, hey, there's an evil dimension with a lot of dinosaur people who are going to be invading us right now. You got to stop them. Like, who are we going to tell? Who are we going to warn?
Who's going to actually listen to you? Yeah, I had the same thought when I was watching this.
Like, I guess, like,
I guess it's strictly better than not warning people about it.
Like, would you call the police? Would you call the president? Would you call, like, post on social media? No one would believe you.
Or you could call the police and, like, people call SWAT teams and other people in the States all the time.
Yeah.
You could just, like, say there's a terrorist threat there or something.
That's probably the best way to do it, right? Where you say, like, there's, like, hey, like, there's gonna be guys who are dressed like this. They're part of a terrorist activity. They're dressed like, they have, like, little dinosaur heads and big suits.
You can probably figure out who the bad guy is pretty soon without even describing any of the dinosaur stuff.
Yeah.
Just say, terrorist shit is going on here. You'll figure it out.
Yeah. And, like, you know, the World Trade Center is merged with Koopa Tower, and Scapelli's back. Remember Scapelli? The guy to keep bringing up. Koopa's trying to shoot Mario with the de-evolution rate and hits Scapelli instead, and Scapelli is turned into a little ape.
Yeah. So Dennis Hopper going like, "Ha, monkey," is a hilarious line for some reason. He seems like delighted to see a monkey there when this happens.
Again, he is so good in this movie. And I love the Scapelli goon. It's like, and the monkey has like a little has a business suit on and everything, and crawls in like the goon's hands. Is like, boss, what are you doing here? Like, why are you a monkey?
See, this is why I feel like Scapelli was supposed to be a larger part of this movie in the original draft.
Yeah,
because like going out of their way to include him in this last scene, despite having not really been in any other like.
Yeah, this like it's crazy how many drafts this movie had.
It was narratively unnecessary to include him at the end there, and yet they chose to do it.
But I guess like he was the villain for like a 5-minute stretch of the movie, so because it's come up as.
But at this, like they name dropped him a couple of times when they were in the other dimension. But who honestly remembered Scapelli at this point?
We've seen so many other disgusting monsters since then. We've seen like fungus that looks like an alien creature. We've seen like. But bombs and Goombas, we've seen Yoshis. Like, I forgot about this random Italian guy.
Yeah, right.
And so Mario has a mushroom. Early on in the movie, like when they're escaping, they find some mushrooms like hanging off of some fungus, and they pluck one because like Luigi has the idea that this could be important. So Mario has his mushroom in his hand, and Koopa's shooting the de-evolution ray towards Mario and hits the mushroom, which causes the mushroom to grow super big.
Yeah.
And then Mario takes the giant mushroom and knocks the de-evolution gun out of Koopa's hands. Meanwhile, Daisy and Luigi back in the meteor chamber, they separate the shard from the meteor, which caused the dimensions to separate again. Back on the streets of Dino Hatton, Mario finally gets the bomb and he sets it loose. We have this little bomb walking around this whole set, which is really cute and fun, actually.
It's very slow.
Very slow. So yeah, there's still an entire action scene where Mario's like climbing around and things. Bowser has his, or Koopa, I guess, has his like flamethrower shooting at them.
Yeah, you know what? I remember earlier on in this podcast episode when I said that there's some stuff that is like oddly faithful to the original video game. Mm-hmm. When you go into that first castle there and you fight Koopa or Bowser for the first time, what's flying at you the entire time that you're...
It's fireballs.
Yeah, it's fireballs.
And honestly, like, they go to a tower, they save the princess, they find Koopa, who is, like, shooting fireballs at them as, like, they're jumping around and stuff. It is...
Kind of.
That's what the game is.
Kind of, yeah.
With the help of some mushrooms. Like.
Yeah. It's kind of... But I noticed it on this watch. The fireball thing specifically.
Yeah.
That was a deliberate choice.
Yeah.
That was a deliberate choice by somebody.
And all the fireballs look great. I think every scene they have a fireball there. They make either they have the actual actors as part of the fire scenes, which is like incredibly dangerous, or they have stunt doubles actually really resemble the actors. It looks really good. So then a bomb goes off underneath Koopa, which causes him to go flying into the air, and he ends up in a giant vat. And Koopa in that vat gets de-evolved into a T-Rex.
I just want to point out that I actually, as a child, was scared by this T-Rex.
Yeah.
I don't know why. It looks kind of cheesy now, because this is like the one time in the budget where they go where it's like I think it's a lot of CGI effects.
Yeah.
Which in 1993 were not.
It's the only clear, blatant CGI in the movie.
Yeah, but as a child, for some reason, just this actually frightened me. Believe it or not.
And the brothers then again use the de-evolutionary on him again, which turns into some a bunch of goo.
Yeah, goo.
He becomes a little bit some goo, and then the goo falls onto the streets and splatters over the place. The green goo that was Koopa is now gone, and everyone cheers that now the dictator is gone from this realm. Immediately, the Koopa for mayor sign, people are taking like white paint rollers and covering it up immediately, which is really funny.
Why not?
Yeah, and the brothers get into the Thwomper Stompers and jump away, and then we also cut to back to the fungus where Daisy's father was, and he turns from fungus into Lance Henriksen.
Yep. We promised you surprise Lance Henriksen here.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's fun little cameo for sure. And at the meteor chamber, Luigi wants Daisy to come with them, but Daisy chooses to stay behind so she can get to know her father. And so Luigi and her Daisy kiss and they part their ways. Weeks later, Daniela has moved in with Mario, so I guess now it's three of them living in the same apartment. And they're watching the news, and they've been labeled as heroes. And the newscaster, this old bastard, he's like, "Oh, I love these guys so much. We should call them maybe the Super Mario Brothers."
Yep.
And then Luigi's like, "Hey, that's a great name. We love that." And then suddenly, Daisy opens up their door to the apartment there. She's in all kinds of military garb. She looks hot as fuck with this. She has kind of fatigues on. It's strapped to her chest.
She's got a big gun.
The same flamethrower gun that Bowser had. Or Koopa had.
Okay.
Yeah, so it is like a flame gun she has. There's like, "Hey, I need your help." And Mario's like, "When you explain, we'll join you."
He just
Cut
gets his plumbing tool belt on.
Yeah.
As if that's what's needed for this whatever situation she's presenting herself in.
We get the second Roxette song of the movie, and we cut to credits. And you say with the post-credits scene?
No, I didn't see it.
So the post-credits scene is Iggy and Spike. They're a bunch of Japanese businessmen, and they're pitching their story into a video game.
Yes.
And they come with a bunch of bad name ideas, like, why don't we call it the Super Koopa Cousins? And that's the movie. And fuck, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's fun. It is fun. It's kind of silly. It doesn't take itself too seriously. You got to make some pretty wild leaps on the plot. It's fun.
And of course, it came out to a complete negative reviews. Like Siskel and Ebert, thumbs down. No one really went to bat for this movie, and I can see why. Because if you're a fan of the video game, you're like, what the fuck is this shit? And it's a bad adaptation. 100%. If you're looking for anything, if you're precious about Mario at all, which I am. At the same time, I was like, I have the games, right? If I really want to have a good Mario experience of the games, I'll play the games.
The thing I kept coming back to when I was thinking about this is who is this for? So I can see it being bad reviews because if you're a big Mario fan, you're not going to get what you're expecting coming in. If you're not, then why do you want your dystopian science fiction movie to have a kids movie in it?
Yeah.
With video game characters that have nothing to do with it? I don't know. It's just a baffling combination of things that.
It makes a lot more sense when you realize that the bigger movies, when there's in production, were the Tim Burton 1989 Batman movie and the Ninja Turtles movie. Because that's similar tones and vibes of those movies. You can see that the target audience for this movie is people who went and loved Batman. Which, this movie is far more baffling than those movies. Those movies are a bit more grounded in the character.
There are other adaptations of or other tellings of Batman that are a little bit more dark and edgy. Mm-hmm. And the original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles comic was pretty dark and edgy, so there's at least in those two settings, there's at least a history of that.
Yeah. But you can tell with we talked about Scapelli before and how this guy must have been bigger in a previous draft. This movie was edited to shreds. It was rewritten to shreds. Clearly the directors were just making things up as they went along, taking off the actors. And honestly, for Hoskins and Leguizamo being drunk the whole time, they're great. It's like, I saw the detail about them being drunk. I'm like, there's no scene where Leguizamo and Hoskins are not giving it 100%. I think it's one of those things where, like, usually when it comes to, consider, so many things said for years, like, it was one of the worst movies ever made. I think a lot of the movies that are actually the worst movies ever made, they're boring. This movie, I don't think this movie's baffling, but I don't think it's boring.
No, it's not boring.
And also, like, the fact that every actor is giving it their damn all is so impressive.
And nobody's phoning it in. Everybody's trying.
I think, like, the only people that phoned it in were maybe, like, the writers, maybe, because, like, the production design is incredible. The animatronics are great. I love the action scenes are pretty good. And yeah, it's like, I think it's just a movie that's worse than some of its parts, which is a kind of a hard movie to really talk about in a way, because, like, it's wild. Like, it's just truly a weird movie. I can absolutely understand why people absolutely hated it. At the same time, I find it charming, and I like the fact that people go to bat for it. And, like, it's really cool that there's a longer cut that exists. They actually, like, the 4K version I watched of the movie looked, and it was a great transfer. They put a lot of care towards it.
So this is definitely a kind of movie that, like, I know that it's not with, like, streaming, it's not really as much of a thing anymore, but this definitely feels like a, if I use this term and you understand what it means, it feels like a blockbuster movie. It feels like a movie you randomly rented and then, like, half believe that it exists.
Yeah. And I imagine with, like, the blockbuster age as, like, let's say Mario 64 comes out in 95, then we get, like, Mario Sunshine 2002. I imagine that the blockbuster rentals was going to be kind of picked up as they made a new Mario game each time. So I can see the kind of popularity kind of ticking up each time. People are saying, like, and also, like, kind of it's almost like a bit of internet lore and legend that they made a Mario Bros. Movie, and as baffling as it is.
Yeah, and I don't know. It's kind of interesting to see how things get the reputation they had, because I've said this a couple of times in this recording. I liked this movie when I first saw it. I was disappointed that it wasn't what I expected it to be when I first saw it. But I liked the movie. It was fun. And again, I was very young when I saw it, so I wasn't expecting a super deep movie. Mm-hmm. Like, if you go into it expecting a 90s kids movie, it's basically that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like, so I just recorded an episode on Labyrinth, which is going to come out at some point in April, not sure when. But, like, that's another movie, too, where, like, it's the you don't really care to the whole plot line is, like, secondary to all the creature effects, right? The production design is where you come to Labyrinth for. And this is another fantasy movie, it's kind of like Labyrinth, where it's just like, wow, like, they actually put a lot of care and effort into these elements of it. It's just that the creative decisions were baffling.
Yep.
But everyone else was game, it makes sense, and for how awful the experience the actors said they had in the movie, you don't see it on them. You don't see the actors being, like, all, like, clearly, like, oh, Dennis Hopper hated being in this scene. Nope. Like, there's a part where he's, like, taking a giant oil bath, or like a goo bath or sludge bath, almost like Baron Harkonnen.
Yeah, he's talking about how much he likes mud.
Yeah, and, like, Dennis Hopper looks like, he's playing it so well as, like, this is something he enjoys.
Yep.
And it makes sense for Cuba, but I imagine as an actor that would not be a fun scene to film.
Nope.
And as, like, Iggy and Spike climb into the sludge as well. Like, they're playing it so well, like cartoonish goons, where, like, we're going to appease the boss. But that would be a miserable scene to film.
Probably.
Because you're going to, as an actor, you're wet. When it comes to, like, the scenes cut, you're going to be wet and miserable too. You're doing a retake, you have to get back in the goo again.
Yep. And, I don't know how they did that effect, but the scene where it was awkwardly hitting on Princess Daisy. We promised you another awkward hitting on scene, and that's the one. I think, unless you meant something else.
I was thinking of Big Bertha punching up Mario. But yeah, this is, like, again, it's, like, a weirdly, like, it has the adult elements that they try to write in this movie too, like, where there is some horniness to the movie, but also it kind of makes it kind of a bit more, because a lot of movies are pretty chaste nowadays. Like, I don't think Mario and Peach are a couple in the new Mario Bros. Movie. Like, I do like how, like, Daisy and Luigi's romance in the movie, you kind of buy it, right? You kind of buy that, like, Leguizamo and Mathis have good chemistry. They look good together, the camera likes them, and I think it works for how, like, shallow it works. One thing I was actually thinking of this movie, too, is, like, usually a movie like this would have some big scene in the third act, and the second act, where Mario and Luigi get into a big fight and separate, and then they come reunite at the end. It's kind of refreshing they don't have that scene, where they kind of do like and respect each other the entire time. It's not a movie where, where Luigi's, like, a fuck up and Mario has to teach him something. They have to learn a lesson.
Apparently, there was. Again, when I was doing my research, I read about it. Apparently, in some original draft or another, or there's a deleted scene where, when they're having their initial date, Luigi expresses disappointment that he's just a plumber. Mm-hmm. There was air quotes around that for again audio format.
Yeah,
and Mario gives him crap for besmirching the family business or something like that. Apparently, there was that came up a few more times in the movie originally.
And that must be in the extended cut, too, because I read that there was one scene that was, like, complete lost media that wasn't even part of the VHS tapes, was that there's one, like, extended scene at the Italian restaurant where, they have the production stills of it, but they don't have a fully filmed version of it where they have this big blowout. And honestly, I think it's a good thing the movie doesn't have it. I think the movie has enough. It's nice that this movie does not really follow the human drama kind of stereotype that you need to have, like, the emotional fallout between them for them to reconcile and to be satisfying in the end. Because, like, there's enough going on in this movie. You don't need to fall back on these tropes.
Look, all you need to adapt for a Mario movie is there's a lizard, there's a princess, lizard kidnaps princess, plumber goes and saves princess from lizard. That, except he's not a lizard until the last few minutes of this movie, but other than that, you get it.
And it's all there.
Yeah, it's all there.
And, like, at the end of the day, like, I'm not going to complain about, like, I had a blast watching this movie. This was a really fun one to revisit. And so, like, yeah, it made had a $40 million budget, roughly, and it made about $48 million, so it was not a box office hit at all. And it's funny, because I find video game adaptations to be fascinating, because, like, video games they make more money than movies now, and they still have issues adapting them into movies. And even ones that, like Uncharted, where Uncharted is clearly based off of movie tropes, like adventure movie tropes, and they still cannot just adapt that back into the original format. It's like kind of like, it's a bizarre. Eventually, they're going to find like a movie, like the Mario Brothers movie is the Illumination one is the highest grossing video game movie of all time. It made over $1 billion. So they're going to keep making video game movies. Like those 5 Nights at Freddy's movies made a lot of money too. Sonic made a lot of money. So they're going to keep making these ones. I'm excited to see which one actually is adapted well that like gets true critical acclaim.
Have you seen that Iron Lung movie yet?
I have not, no.
No, I haven't either, and I'm kind of one of the problems you run into when you adapt a video game movie is that you're going from an interactive format where like the video game is paced and planned as if you're playing it to a non-interactive format like film.
Yeah.
So like I've played the video game Iron Lung, and the ending of that, I don't know how you adapt that faithfully into a non-interactive medium. So I'd be really curious to see how they tackled that.
Yeah.
Mario, you maybe have less of that issue because of the nature of the gameplay, but like even still,
they earlier this year they released Return to Silent Hill, which is based on Silent Hill 2.
Oh, interesting.
Which I saw in the theater and had a blast. My whole theater was laughing their ass off. Which again, if you play Silent Hill 2, you're not supposed to be laughing your ass off at it. But it is it's a fun movie, but that's one where like Silent Hill 2 is like a movie that has like a very like, the plot is like a very psychosexual storyline. It's a very emotional, mature storyline. It's just that even again, like even we it's a Japanese game, so like when we play it in English, like there's some clumsy dialogue here and there, but like the heart of the story is actually pretty damn interesting and good spooky environment. And just even adapting that straight up into a movie, it's just like it's kind of comical. Like, I think it's a very fun movie. Everyone fucking hated it. I have the minority opinion by thinking it's a good movie. But, but I think that, eventually they'll probably... I'm not sure what the game is going to be where it's, like, gets... Like, The Last of Us TV show is probably a good example where it actually got critical acclaim. Mainstream recognition was up for awards and stuff. Even though the second season was a bit of a fuck-up. But I think that they're eventually going to find... Because there's just so many video games. Video games are such a new medium. They're eventually going to find something that actually, like, truly, like... Oh yeah, they got it right. They got the feel of the gameplay right, as well as the tone, the story.
I thought the Amazon Fallout show, well, it doesn't necessarily count because it's not really adapting the plot of the games. It's being set in the same world as them.
Yeah,
I thought it struck a pretty good balance between staying true to the universe and the sort of feel of playing the game without actually. Feeling bound by it.
That's a great example too, because I haven't seen all of season 2 yet, but like that's a show that actually feels like, oh yeah, you're actually taking advantage of it being a TV show while still respecting it as a video game and doing the right thing with it. Because like being a TV show, being a movie, being a video game, all different ways to tell a story.
Yep.
I think Fallout does mostly a good job. I think the way that storylines are paced on that show are pretty shitty, but like the feel of it, the look of it, I think it's like you play a Fallout game, like, oh yeah, that's what it looks like, that's what it feels like.
I think where the Fallout show sort of falls flat are not issues that come from it being an adaptation, though. They're usual, like, structured streaming TV show
100%,
pacing issues.
Yeah, which like every show has, because TV shows forgot that you need to, have act breaks and stuff in an episode, or when an episode ends, you should leave people excited for next week's episode rather than just something I'll follow along anyway.
Yeah, so I mean, yeah.
But yeah, like, it's fun going back to, like, between this and the Resident Evil episode, it's kind of fun doing a bit of an archaeological study of the previous big attempts to adapt a video game. Because Resident Evil was one of the first ones to make money as well. Like, it was Mortal Kombat with Paul W.S. Anderson, then Resident Evil with Paul W.S. Anderson as well, were the first ones to actually make a lot of money. This one didn't make a lot of money. It was ridiculed. It was a punchline for decades. And I think that, when you see lists of the worst movies ever made, or even the worst video game movies ever made, they've made way worse ones. Like, I think it's a good movie. I think it's a fun as hell movie. But, like, there's all the UV Bowl movies, like, when he did, like, House, Alone in the Dark, House of the Dead, Far Cry, Postal. Like, those movies are absolutely atrocious. Blood Rain.
I didn't even know about half of those. So.
Yeah. Because people didn't give a shit about video game movies, so they just gave the rights to this one German guy who makes bad movies because he'll do them for cheap.
Yep, that checks out.
But now I think we're at a different stage now where people are like, there's actually like, wait, you can actually make this is untapped market. The superhero genre is kind of on its way out clearly. The Mario Brothers movie came out and made a lot of money. The Sonic movies came out and made a lot of money. As superheroes are maybe on the way out, so maybe this is the next big thing that people can adapt to being huge money makers. And I'm excited to see which one is actually and the it's going to be a Death Stranding movie.
Okay, I could see that being good.
Yeah, which, like, could be interesting. Alex Garland's making an Elden Ring movie.
I could also see that being good, although I hope it takes the Fallout tag of not being a literal adaptation of the plot of any one of the games.
Because that would be just baffling. I would love it.
And it's just set in that world, because I think there's a lot of untapped potential there.
Mm-hmm. Because, like, problem making a Dark Souls universe game is that, or Dark Souls universe movie is that, like, the joy of that universe is, like, you just feel so alive, but, like, also without just a lot of exposition. It's through, like, reading item descriptions or listening to dialogue. It's not just, like, oh, this happened here and then. Like, it's, like, piecing things together, which is half the fun for me.
I really hope that if they're adapting that, they take the From Software trend of having somebody deliver a piece of dialogue and then just laugh like a completely unhinged human being that makes no sense for that context.
Patches the hyena, just doing something crazy for, kicking someone down a hole. But, I think, my final thoughts on the Mario Bros. Movie is that, it's a ton of fun, and the production design is incredible, the actors are all game for it. I would highly recommend checking it out. I think it's better than the new Mario Bros. Movie, and I bet because of, Illumination's track record, it'll probably be better than the new Mario Galaxy movie as well. Any final thoughts on the Mario Bros. Movie, Ben?
Only one. I want everybody to suffer as much as I did, so please open the door, get on the floor, everybody walk the dinosaur.
Oh, thank you so much for joining me this week, Ben.
Thank you for having me.
You can follow me on Twitter, Blue Sky, and Letterboxd at bwishart. You can also follow MoviePod on Twitter, Blue Sky, Instagram, and YouTube. Please send some mail to the mailbag at moviepodmailbag@gmail.com. Any movie-related stories, questions, concerns with the show. Throw me recommendations. I want to see what you freaks have to say. What you freaks have to recommend me. Next week the show is going to continue. April's going to be a bit of a spotty month for me. I have a labyrinth episode planned, but I'm probably going to get a little bit busy, so I'm not sure how every episode's going to go weekly. But the week after this episode, there's going to be an episode on Xanadu. Have you seen Xanadu?
I have not seen Xanadu.
Xanadu is wild. It's basically the reason why the Razzies were created.
Excellent.
Olivia Newton-John, Gene Kelly, Electric Orchestra doing the soundtrack. It's a lot more fun movie than you think. It's kind of like, you hear movies have these reputations like the Mario Bros. Movies being some of the worst movies ever made. You actually watch like, hey, this isn't that bad.
Nope.
I've seen some, like, the worst movies truly ever made. They're just absolutely unwatchable. Like, movies like this, they are baffling, but they're not unwatchable.
Nope. I've definitely seen worse that is higher acclaimed.
Exactly, yeah. Yeah, so thank you again so much for joining me. And until next week, take care.